what you need to do right now to launch your home staging business. So one of the things in life that's going to hold you back from achieving any goal or any dream is procrastination. I've seen it so many times with the women that I coach in STAGERBOSS to launch their home staging businesses as they don't take enough action. Now, I'd like to think I know a little bit about action taking. I scaled my business in under 2 years to 7 figures because of the daily actions that I took. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you what you can implement right now, 3 things to launch your home staging business. Let's dive in. So when I launched my business at 16, turning 17, there was one sentence that I heard that changed the way that I operated myself and all of the business. And it was money follows speed. Now, I really love this statement, this quote, because it is so true. The more action you take and the quicker you can take that action, the more successful you will be. Often people are very successful is because they get there first, right? So we want to make sure that you're taking action not only consistently, but also at a fast pace. Now that doesn't mean careless action, it means very driven action. And that's why in today's video, I'm going to give you the 3 things to focus on rather than focusing on things that aren't going to move the needle in your business. Let's dive in. So what I often see when people go to launch their home staging business is I see that they put 10-year problems in front of themselves right now. Not even 10 years, let's even say 2-year issues, right? What I mean by this is before someone will even begin, they want to possess all the knowledge that they do not even need right now. I would say it's called education paralysis. Wanting to learn what will happen in 2 years' time when you scale this to 7 figures and how you start. An example of this would be when I start working with a new client and they ask, how can I start manufacturing my own furniture like you? I didn't start manufacturing my own furniture till 3 years into my journey. When you're just launching your business, you don't even have a brand name yet, you do not need to know that. So what's really important in this video and when you're building your business is to remember, I will focus on today's issues, not issues or obstacles that I'll come up against in 2 or 3 years' time, because right now for you, they're not relevant. So let's look at the 3 things you need to implement today. Number 1, brand name. Now, I always feel weird about saying this because I know how much people can overthink choosing a name for their brand. Now, in my book, I actually talk about a method around choosing a brand name. It's called my cup of tea method. What I want you to do is make yourself a cup of tea, cup of coffee, a cocktail, and by the time that you're finished that drink, choose your brand name. Really, when you're launching your business, it does not need any more thought than that, because your brand name and you yourself will develop and change as time goes on. And this is often the biggest point of procrastination that I see from people when they launch their business. Mark Randolph, the co-founder of Netflix, who wrote the foreword to my book, actually speaks about when he went to name Netflix. I mean, who hasn't heard of Netflix, right? It's an internationally recognized brand. But when he was in the setup process of Netflix, I mean, coming up with the idea, the market, and just creating it all, he actually called Netflix Kibble. Yes, like the dog food. That's what he named the business. And he said that he named it that because he knew they would spend way too long thinking about it, he would overthink it, and he wanted to get the product first. He called it Kibble because the name was so bad, he would be forced to change it. And I almost want you to grow your business like this. Obviously, if you can come up with something incredible originally, then go for it. And if you can't, just choose whatever comes to your mind. What most people don't know is that actually when I launched my business, The Property Stagers, which I scaled to 7 figures, it wasn't originally called that. It was originally called Live Interiors, and that's a whole other video I'm going to link below on what to name your brand. Choose your brand name. Don't spend too long thinking about this and get it chosen and get it out there. Number 2, set up those social media profiles. Now, what is quite ironic is most people think to launch a business, you need a website. And I 100% believe you do need a website at one point in your business, but it shouldn't be the chokehold on you getting started. Your social media profiles will suffice. So set up your Instagram, your LinkedIn, and your Facebook profile as a home stager. Now, I recommend having these profiles because ultimately, if anyone then goes to search you, you have some sort of presence on these platforms. Get some content out there. You can actually backdate content as well to make yourself look more active. Now, what I then would send someone to if they asked if I had a website, I would say my website's under maintenance, but why not go check out my Instagram profile or my Facebook profile? And from there, we have a presence. It's the authority that's sitting behind us as a person and our brand. And yeah, they get to check us out. They get to see how professional we are. And with those profiles, we want them to be top quality, come across as reliable, come across as professional. So make sure you've got those profiles set up. It should take you no longer than a few hours to set those up, have them looking good, and then start to consistently publish some content. So before I go on to our third point, which is potentially the most important one, because it's going to talk about getting clients, go click that subscribe button, subscribe to our channel, which is all about growing your home staging business, female empowerment. Go subscribe and we'll dive in. Now, the third point, these have almost went in chronological order. Choose your brand name, set up your social media profiles, and the third thing you're going to do today is get into conversations with potential clients. I cannot tell you how much learning is going to happen for you when you get into a conversation with a client. Now, practice out whatever you want to say with your friends and family, but until your feet are held to the fire and you're on a call with a client, then it's going to totally change the game and totally grow your knowledge as well. I remember actually one of our STAGERBOSS lives in March, we had one of our students on our panel and she shared that I actually passed her lead in her area and she had never phoned a client before. This was her first ever experience. When she jumped on that call, she said, I had paper all over the floor of all the answers, all the questions that could happen. But she said like that was the biggest learning point for her, was being able to have that real in-life communication with a potential client. So get into conversations, whether that's attending a networking event, whether that's reaching out to someone on social media and getting into a DM conversation, jumping on a Zoom call. What does that look like? Who isn't even in your closer community or phone book that you could chat about what you do? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, the only thing that's going to drive sales in our business is if we're speaking to people. You cannot expect to get your Paula, your first client, unless you've had a conversation with someone. So get in as many conversations as possible because that is where the real learning will happen. If you are loving this content and you're thinking, I'm going to implement those 3 things, but I also want to know more, then head to becomeastagerboss.com. I have a completely free training for you at becomeastagerboss.com, and I'm going to share with you how to launch your home staging business from zero, from scratch, no experience, no startup funds, no portfolio. I'm going to cover all inside that training and share with you the very next steps totally for free. I'll see you in there.